Back when social was primarily a marketing channel, the job was pretty clear. Publish content, get attention for that content, measure performance. So the metrics made sense. We looked at things like reach, impressions, engagement, follower growth. Those were the signals that told you whether or not your content was working. The problem is, social doesn't do that job anymore, at least not exclusively. Welcome to the Social Media CX podcast, the show about what really happens when brands stop broadcasting and start having real conversations with their customers on social. I'm Brooke Sellas, and around here, we believe that conversations beat campaigns every single time. This show is for leaders navigating social as a customer experience channel, especially in complex enterprise and highly regulated environments. Let's get into it. I want you to think about the last time you looked at your social media dashboard and thought, we're doing everything we're supposed to, so why does everything feel off or wrong? If your metrics say things are working, but your gut says they're not, this episode is definitely for you. Because today we're talking about the difference between measuring activity and actually understanding experience, and why confusing the two keeps teams stuck, even when they're busy and well-funded. Before we get into social care metrics specifically, we need to zoom out just for a second and talk about social media metrics more broadly. Because most of the metrics teams are still using today were built for what social used to be. Back when social was primarily a marketing channel, the job was pretty clear. Publish content, get attention for that content, measure performance. So the metrics made sense. We looked at things like reach, impressions, engagement, follower growth. Those were the signals that told you whether or not your content was working. The problem is, social doesn't do that job anymore, at least not exclusively. Today, social is one of the first places customers go when they have questions, when they're unsure, when they're trying to decide whether they trust you, your competitor, or whether something will work for them, or whether moving forward with your brand feels like a risk. And yet most teams and systems are still built around content and broadcasting. So we end up measuring social as if it's still about publishing, even while customers are using it as a leading customer experience channel. That mismatch is where a lot of confusion starts. And here's where things get a little tricky for teams. When social care lives inside of the same systems, and it's measured with that same mindset as social media marketing, essentially, the metrics don't just feel incomplete, they actively push teams in the wrong direction. Because, again, not picking on marketing today, I promise, but marketing metrics reward activity. How often did we post? How much engagement did we drive? How visible was this campaign? But social care lives in a completely different reality. Customers aren't there to be engaged. They're there to be helped, to get clarity on their questions or confusion, to reduce uncertainty, to make a decision. And when they're giving you, the brand, the opportunity to help them make that decision, you can't be thinking of it as a marketing activity. So when we apply social media metrics to social care work, teams naturally optimize for speed, volume, and throughput, not for whether this conversation or interaction actually helped that customer. That's how you end up with teams that look productive on paper while customers walk away confused. So marketing metrics, if we're, judging on content, can look like things are going really well. But if the business is struggling or failing, this might be one of the reasons why. This is also why busy became such a misleading metric or signal for leaders. Because if you're measuring replies, handle time, or message volume, busy looks like success. Oh, we talked to this many people. We closed this many tickets. But doing that and measuring that way doesn't tell you if the customer felt more confident after that conversation or that exchange. Did they understand what the next step was? Did they take that next step, like a purchase or leaving a review or giving you access to user-generated content? Did trust increase with that interaction, or did it decrease or erode? So when leaders rely on old signals, they understandably push for more efficiency, more speed, more output. Not because they don't care about your team or your output or your work, but because that's what the metrics are telling them matters. This is how teams end up working harder without actually moving the needle, or without actually moving customer experience forward, or without actually proving a return on investment for social media efforts. Now, when experience metrics come into play, and again, this isn't to replace everything you already track, but to fill the gap where those metrics don't cover the experience, things really start to change, because experience metrics ask different questions. So we're looking at things like, did we reduce uncertainty? Did sentiment shift during the interaction? Did the customer leave feeling resolved, even if the issue wasn't necessarily closed or the ticket wasn't closed? In the State of Social Care report, we talk about things like sentiment shift, resolution confidence, and trust velocity, or what we call trust velocity. So these are abstract ideas, but they are practical signals that leaders can use to help make better decisions when it comes to conversations on social media or customer support on social media. Because once you see how interactions are landing, not just how fast they move, patterns start to emerge. And those patterns explain why things feel busy but are still fragile. Let me pause here for a second, because this is the point where a lot of leaders start thinking, okay, this sounds familiar. I'm kind of leaning in, but now what? What do I do next? If that's you, this is where our State of Social Care report can help. It's not a trends report. It's not a collection of best practices. It's a real look at how social care is actually operating inside of real organizations right now, where things are breaking down, where risk shows up first, and why so many teams feel busy but stuck when it comes to social. There's a full section on experience metrics in the report, not just what to measure, but why these metrics most teams rely on today were built for a very different version of social. Social has changed. If you're watching this on YouTube, you'll see a QR code on the screen. You can scan that to download the report whenever you're ready. And if you're listening to the podcast, the link is waiting for you in the show notes on YouTube underneath this episode. No rush, no pitch, just something to give you clear language for the conversations you're probably already having, or maybe that gut feeling that you're already feeling. The leaders we see getting traction this year and beyond aren't throwing out their social media metrics. I want to make that really clear. They're simply recognizing that those metrics were built for a different job. These leaders are also asking themselves and their teams, what are customers actually using this channel for today? Yeah, channel specific. We see a lot more support requests, by the way, on Facebook, Twitter, and less so on LinkedIn, TikTok, but TikTok's growing. So think about the specific channel. What decisions are being made here? Not just on your side, but on the customer side. Are they comparing you to a competitor? Are they making a decision to trust you? Do they not see the value in your product or service? And then, yes, what decisions are you making on your side? How are you escalating things? How are you changing sentiment? How are you offering extreme value and personalized experience? And do your metrics reflect that reality? So whatever those questions bring to light, are you implementing KPIs and metrics that actually help you see how the needle is moving? Once that shift happens, social care stops feeling like a black box. Metrics stop being a comfort blanket, And leaders finally get the signals they've been missing. More importantly, the signals around acquisition and retention. Are we gaining new customers through social? Are we retaining customers through social? Which honestly is what most leaders care about the most. This is why social care now belongs in executive conversations, because social isn't just where content performs anymore. It's where experience, trust, buying decisions, all of those really cool things that lead to ROI show up first. And this happens long before these things appear in surveys or quarterly reports, or sometimes even your monthly social reports if you're using just those regular metrics. If your metrics are only telling you that the activity is happening, but not whether customers are actually helped, nothing is wrong with you or your team. You're just measuring social for the job it used to do. And that's exactly what I want to keep unpacking with you this quarter. So stay tuned and we'll keep digging into this very important shift in the social media landscape. Before we wrap up, I want to say this. If this episode made you rethink how you're measuring your social media metrics, or maybe it helped you understand why things feel busy but not better, nothing is wrong with you. Nothing is wrong with your team. It's okay. Most organizations, most companies are still running systems that were built for what social used to be and not what it's become today. So this is completely normal. But this is the work that we're focused on this quarter, which is helping leaders see social care for what it actually is today, which is a leading customer experience channel and a place where trust and decisions are formed in real time all the time. As always, if this show is helping you think differently about customer support on social media, please rate and review us at ratethispodcast.com/SMCX. That's SMCX, like social media customer experience. It helps us keep the conversation going with intention and, bring on more voices that actually move this kind of work forward. Until next time, think conversation, not campaign. Thanks for tuning in to the Social Media CX podcast. If you loved today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who needs to up their social care game.